Hi, welcome to my Woodland Snowflake hat knit along. We'll be knitting a Fair Isle hat. I'll show you everything from start to finish. We're gonna cast on, knit the ribbing. I'll show you how to work a few rounds, and then we'll dive into a very easy and basic Fair Isle pattern. In case you're not familiar with the term Fair Isle, it is where you use more than one yarn and you carry the yarns through the pattern as you knit along. So this is a 2-color one, so we only have 2 strands of yarn that we'll be working with that create this amazing snowflake design. Now I call the pattern Woodland Snowflake, and a lot of that has to do with my daughter. When she looked at the pattern, she thought I was making trees. I was trying to make snowflakes, so we're calling it a compromise, and it's the Woodland Snowflake Fair Isle pattern. So I hope you enjoy this, and let's get started. Woodland Snowflake hat. Let's talk about the pattern and the supplies that you'll need. I made 2 hats with 2 different yarns for this pattern because I wanted to test out a few different things, and I loved both of them. So they're both in the pattern. It's the same pattern. We used Ultra Alpaca in this gorgeous blue and white, and we came up with this hat here. Like I said, same pattern, same chart, same directions, but this is using Ultra Alpaca. Okay, and then we used Madeline Tosh DK. And this color combination, I said my #1 favorite color is green, like my shirt. This is like my favorite all-time color. And Madeline Tosh has one called Joshua Tree, and it's so close to this color, and it came out with this hat right here, which I am absolutely in love with. I sent some sneak peeks out there to you, to my friends on the Facebook group, which is One Big Happy Yarn Company Makers group. So I sent you a sneak peek. Some of you guys had some ideas. You thought I was making a sweater or a cardigan. It's a hat. But the techniques that you'll learn here for this pattern, you could transition into making your own other projects. But the color is Joshua Tree, and it's like my current favorite color. Okay, so we're gonna cast on. We're casting on 120 stitches. We're gonna be using the long tail cast on. Let me show you, get you started with that. Now, 120 stitches is a lot of stitches to cast on, so we wanna remember our little trick on where we cast on. We're gonna wrap our yarn around our needle the right way. I'm having a lot of fun with this pattern. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yay. So that is approximately how much I'll need to cast on 20 stitches. I just need to multiply this a few times to get to 120. So there's 40, 80. Okay, that should definitely be enough. 160. And then give myself a little movement here, and I put my slip knot in. Now I want the tail to be towards my body and my ball of yarn out. This is just so I don't get them all backwards and confused. Now let's go over how to do the long tail cast on. I do have a stitch support video that we'll put a link up there for you, and you can click on that if you need a little bit more of a refresher on how to do this cast on. Another thing I really want to point out, in this pattern you're going to see 2 different needle sizes. We're using a US size 3 and a US size 6. No, a US size 4 and a US size 6. We're starting off with the smaller needle to do our cast on and our ribbing so that our hat has a little structure. It'll be a little bit tighter around the brim and then get bigger when we do our color work for this hat. So I do want to point that out. Make sure that you are using the smaller size needle to do your cast on. Go ahead and get those stitches cast on, and then we'll start on the ribbing. Okay, so I've got my 120 stitches cast on. A couple of things at this point I want to look at. I want to make sure that all of these ends are on the inside. So I got a little wild with my cast on, and I was all over the place. So I'm going to take a moment to make sure that it's laying flat. This keeps everything from twisting and turning. Okay. So see this nice edge all the way around? That's what we want it to look like. Okay, so now we're going to join in the round and add our stitch marker to mark the beginning of our round. Slide that on here. I was in the shop the other day, and this lady came up to me and she's like, I use double pointed needles for everything, but I've been starting to use circular needles, but I have this little bump at the beginning of after I cast on. And I told her, I said, well, let me show you. And I was actually working on this project in the shop when she came up and talked to me. So I backed it up, and I'm going to do that for you too and show you a little trick to help prevent that little divot that happens in the beginning. Okay. And you might have seen me do this before on some other projects, but this is the perfect project to use this little trick. Remember when we cast on, we put in a slip knot? That's right here. So this stitch or loop is secure at the bottom with that slip knot. I'm going to slide that off the needle. This is the last stitch that I cast on. I'm going to slide that on to the first needle and then put that stitch. So I've swapped those two stitches and it cinches up that beginning. Now I'm going to put my stitch marker on to mark the beginning of my round, and I'll be ready to start knitting. So that's joining in the round. And now for our ribbing, we're going to knit 2 and purl 1. Another thing I want to point out, these are a lot of stitches. I'm using a 16-inch cord, and they are going to stretch all the way around. See how tight that is? Don't worry about that. That's normal. After you get past like round 2 or round 3, it's going to soften up with your knitting on there, and it gets a lot easier to finagle. So watch me as I knit just these first few stitches, and you'll see that I'm having to push to the tips of my needles so that I have some space to make my stitches. But as I make these stitches on the next round, they'll loosen up. It'll be a lot easier to work with. But this is something that happens. It's the nature of the beast. And we just work with it on this first couple of rounds. Usually by the time you're on round 2, it softens up. Okay, so I knit 2. There's a purl stitch and purl 2, just like that. See how I'm having to slide all these stitches around? Just go slow your first time around. I guarantee it'll be worth it after you get these on here. Okay, so once you're done with that, go ahead and knit up your ribbing for 1.5 inches, and then I will show you how we continue on to the body of the hat. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I finished my ribbing. I think earlier I said 1.5 inches. I went ahead and changed that to 2 inches. I like a thicker brim, but I've got 2 inches of ribbing on here. Now it's time to change out to the larger needles because I want to change to larger needles before I start the body of the hat. What I'm going to do, I have interchangeable needles. So you have a couple different options here. You can just grab another set of needles that are a size 6, or if you're using interchangeables like I am, I just want to show you how we change out the tips. The package, I'm using a ChowGoo, and they come with this little T-pin here. The T-pin slides into this hole right down here that's in the base of the cord. And then they just unscrew. Now, the writing, each one of these tips have the size on them, but the writing is so small that in the package of interchangeable needles, I want to show you this cute little clever thing here. This has holes in it for each side of the size the needle should be. So, like here is, like I can't read that, but I need it to be a 6. So I'm going to slide it through here and look. It doesn't fit through the 5. See that 5 right there? But it fits through the 6, so I know this is a 6. Just save your eyes a little bit, but that comes in the package as well. Okay, and then it has the threads on the bottom there, and we just, then once you get it screwed on, just kind of push the T-pin a little bit to torque it and get a good grasp there. Okay, now we're going to do that to the other side. Slide the T-pin in, Unscrew the tip. Okay. So that's everything for this week. In the next episode, we'll go ahead and start the Fair Isle portion of the hat. I'll show you how to work the decreases. We'll switch over to double pointed needles and we'll actually finish up the hat. Happy knitting!